You have to try a bunch of different things. And when I was in the beginning of my career, I was trying a bunch of different voiceover types and genres and everything anyone could throw at me. I was game, sure. But as you progress through your career, the market starts to tell you where you fit. And whether or not, whether it's voiceover or any other field, the market will tell you where you fit. And when you get that hint, you really need to lean into it because that's how you can make a viable business grow.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is Jodi Krangle. She is a voice actor at Piece of Cake Voiceovers. We wanted to chat more about the life and joy of entrepreneurship. Jodi, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. So we always like to ask our entrepreneurs, tell us about your journey. What were you doing before that kind of led you into where you are now?
Well, I was in SEO and internet marketing when the internet was brand new. This was 1995 when I got online. And I loved it. It opened up the world. It was fantastic. I did that for a number of years until I got really, really bored. Because 2007 was around when Google became it. There wasn't another search engine anymore that mattered. I got bored. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I decided the thing that had been in the back of my head percolating for a while, I was going to try that. I hung out my shingle and I started doing voice acting. And mostly what I do is in the commercial and corporate narration space. I tend not to do the audiobooks or the long form narration or the video games and animation and that kind of stuff. I really love the advertising end of things.
Nice. That is so cool. Now, what a journey to take you from. A lot of people try to break out of the 9 to 5, or they get bored or complacent with just where they're at and they want to branch out and expand. And voice acting, like you said, there's almost like a subset of many other types, the long form and the narration. You focus more on the marketing advertising piece. Are these like the 15, 30-second spots that you see, like most companies doing commercials or radio ads and internet ads?
Yeah, a lot of them are. Television was still a thing when I started. Not so much anymore. But radio is still a thing, even if it's streaming. It's out there as well. The thing about radio is really interesting because it's very much an audio medium. You don't really have the visual to give you cues as to what you're seeing or what's being described. And in that case, I'm less of a voice under, which is just kind of highlighting, like Vanna White, if you even know who that is, what is on the screen. The radio, that's your voice is it. You have to tell that story yourself, or other people are having dialogue and you're commenting on it. But it's all voice, it's all audio. Different types of things, and it's still out there, thankfully. But advertising marketing, I find the psychology of it to be really fascinating. I've kind of focused my attention to that.
It really is fascinating. Can you take me more into the day in the life of a voice actor? Are you doing outreach? Are people coming to you now because they heard your spot? And even for a 30-second or 60-second long commercial, I can't imagine you just run that in one take and you say, all right, off to the pool now. There's more to it. You got to level some audio and you have to do a few takes and send it for revisions. I don't know. What is that process like?
It depends. There's a lot of different options here. A lot of my day I spend on LinkedIn, to be honest. I'm making a lot of connections on LinkedIn for a certain category of jobs that people have that might be hiring in what I do. And just making connections and letting them know I'm out here. And I do a podcast about advertising and marketing and branding that has to do with sound. That sort of gets some connections coming my way as well because I interview some really interesting people. That helps. And then, of course, I'm doing email reach out to people who might have advertising agencies or video production companies and stuff like that. And then I have my own regular clients. I have regular clients who come to me on a daily, weekly basis, sometimes monthly. It depends on what it is we're doing together. And in that case, yes, I am recording by myself and I have to be my own audio engineer. You can see the booth back there. I have all the equipment I need. I have a really nice microphone. And doing stuff, I have to do my own editing. Yes, I will probably give them 2 or 3 takes, depending on how long the script is. If it's a corporate narration, it can be as long as 5 minutes. I'm, in some cases, giving them 1 take, but maybe with the intro repeated or certain lines repeated inside that 5 minutes to give them some options for within the piece. It all depends. And then I'm sending them off that audio as clean as I possibly can make it, and then they do whatever production they're going to do on their end. But when it comes to doing stuff for agents, and I have several agents all over the US and Canada, and those agents will give me auditions. A lot of my day is spent auditioning. And if I happen to land one of those auditions so that it becomes a job, then the client is usually going to be directing me over a local, something called Source Connect, which is I am recording in my studio and they're receiving that recording on their end and recording it there. There's another thing called Session Link Pro. There's a bunch of these different peer-to-peer kind of connections that we can use for recording now. And I do that inside of my booth. I have them in my headphones and they're directing me as we do the spots. And it depends on how picky they want to be. And I have to be infinitely directable. They'll tell me they want more smile in this, or they want less smile, or they want it to be more energy, or they want it to be soothing, or they tell me these things and I interpret what they're telling me to get my voice to be what it is they want, what they're hearing in their head. And it's a skill of knowing your instrument and knowing what their words mean. Because every producer is different. Every person directing me in the booth is going to say something, a smile, adding more smile. That means something to one person and a different thing to another person. I have to interpret that and move minutely depending on where they direct me. That's skill, and that's something that you get over time.
Yeah, and especially in the creative space, design work, it's like, can you make this brighter? Do you mean the contrast and saturation, or do you mean brighter colors, or does it need a different palette? Like you said, you have to interpret what they're saying and try to then deliver this better finished product and understand what they meant by it.
Exactly. And it's different for everyone. And if you're doing it in graphic design, I want more soft edges than square edges, that kind of thing, right? People will say that kind of a thing. And then you have to interpret that and make sure you understand what they mean. It's a skill. It's definitely a skill, but you have to know your instrument. So what you're drawing with, I know what I'm speaking with.
Have they ever thrown a term at you that you're like, I have no idea what they mean, and you had to dig deeper? They're like, this line needs more synergy. And you're like, synergy? What do you mean?
Can you sound taller?
No.
I will try whatever it is that I think it is. And then if that approaches what they were thinking in their head, then I know what they meant. It's happened many times. Like I said, I've been doing this 17 plus years now. It's hard for someone to throw something at me that I can't at least make an attempt to do. And if we don't understand each other that first time, then I will try and interpret and say back to them what it is they're trying to say to me to see if I got it right.
Yes.
It's being willing to play is what it is.
Yes. And it's cool that you described this, the software and tools that you use, where there's this in-ear monitor where you can get the live feedback and that audio is being uploaded basically instantaneously. It's like being at their own studio, their own sound booth, but you're in the comfort of your own home, which is fantastic.
It is absolutely fantastic that technology exists now, because now I can do more than one job in a day. That's nice.
Yeah, worry about travel.
Yeah. Well, I live outside of the city. You would say 40 minutes up the highway, but add traffic in there and it's probably about an hour and a half. And then the stress of trying to find parking in a big city center, it's hard. Being able to do everything from my own booth, oh, priceless.
Yes. Absolutely. When you were talking before about your day-to-day life, building connections, doing the outreach, building relationships, what piece of that has been most effective for you? Are you going for a hard sale right away?
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah, not at all. What I do is I will connect with someone. I won't even send a note. And then if they decide to connect with me, I thank them for the connection and I say, I'm looking forward to following your work. And then if they reply, I will say to them, if you have any need for anything, feel free to let me know. And that's the end of that. We have a connection and we're watching each other on LinkedIn, and I'll comment on their stuff and they might comment on mine. And if they're in a specific field that has a lot to do with audio, I may invite them on the podcast, which again, makes for a better connection. I'm not here to sell hard to anyone. I'm making a connection so that we have time to get to know each other. And then when that connection becomes a deeper connection of I understand what they're hoping to accomplish and I am rooting for them when they have big things happen in their lives, or if they change jobs, or if they get an award or something like that. I'm all about the nice stuff. I really want to encourage people to keep doing what they love doing because that's important in our lives. And people do it for me. I want to do it for other people.
Right, right, absolutely. And building those relationships, I think starting out, a lot of people are desperate and hungry for getting a sale. I think they have to really be direct with it, as opposed to just knowing that relationships take time to nurture and they're not always very direct. Do you want to buy my stuff? Sometimes it's seeing the content come across LinkedIn or the message pops up and that conversation builds over time.
Very much. And LinkedIn is a business network. No one thinks that you're connecting with them to have coffee with them. I'm not personally invested. I mean, who knows? Maybe we have some things in common and we can actually become friends, but that's going to happen over time. I'm not expecting a connection to suddenly be my best friend. And they're aware that if they connect with me, I'm not asking them to be my best friend. We're forming the beginnings of a possible business relationship. If that happens to deepen, that's great. But I'm not expecting to know their kids' names necessarily or know what they put on their barbecue on the weekend. If they want to share, I'm happy to hear, but
it's finding that balance.
Yeah, there is a balance. I mean, if I was on Facebook, that would be a different thing.
Right, yeah.
Instagram, that's a different thing. But when we're talking LinkedIn, we're talking business. And people on that network know that we're talking business. It's not surprising that people reach out to other people. It would be surprising if you automatically sell to them because no one wants that.
It's to find someone who's doing that well.
There's no good way to do that. There really isn't. Ultimately, we are imposing ourselves into someone else's social media feed. And we have to be respectful of that. That's not to say that what you offer isn't a great thing. It could be a fantastic thing, but they're not going to be receptive to you if the first thing you do after that connection is to say, here, buy my stuff. Where's the trust? There's nothing there yet. Let it percolate a little there.
I totally agree. And that kind of leans into being extroverted versus introverted. Because I think business owners out there feel like they need to be extroverted or out there all the time. And what is that like, whether you're being introverted versus shy? And how do we kind of overcome that or use that to our advantage?
It's a tough call for a lot of people because they feel like they have to be an extrovert. And I said this before we started recording. I am a raging introvert. I really am. I would rather sit here with a good book or a good Netflix program than have a group gathering for drinks at a loud bar. Like that just does nothing for me. And it's different for everybody, but the way that I regain my energy is by being by myself and relaxing and being in peace. And for me, even I don't tend to listen to a whole lot of music while I'm doing that. It's actually fairly silent when I'm doing that. That's just me. Everyone else gets their energy back in a different way, but extroverts get it by being in group settings, and I do not. What that means for me is that I cannot schedule podcast interviews either for someone else's or my own. I can't schedule Zoom meetings. I can't schedule a directed session with a client. One after the other after the other. I can't do that. If I do that, I will suffer and my work will suffer. I need to be very careful about how I schedule things. That's really the essence of it for me. How I schedule things is really key because I need to schedule some relief time in between things or else it doesn't work for me.
In those moments, you only have so much energy available to give. You need to be smart with your time so that way you're not burning out and draining yourself. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, we try to go hard too fast and then we burn out or we spin out and then we're like, I need a week or two to recover. But if you can be smart and manage your calendar a bit, your recovery time becomes less or it's more manageable.
Yes. There's something else that I've built into my career as well. When I do my jobs are generally 5 minutes of finished audio or less. And the reason they are that, and that I have specialized in the commercials and the corporate narrations that are around that size, is because there are no fires. When someone says that they need a sentence redone and it's a emergency and they have to go to air tomorrow, I can get something back to them in 10 minutes because it's a line. It's not a whole 3 pages of stuff for an e-learning
Right.
that needs to be done tomorrow. It's something that I can do in 10 minutes, and I have taught myself how to do that and match the tone and give them what they need and give them options for what they need so that they can just plug it right in the way they go. And that is only possible because what I do is short.
Right. A lot of entrepreneurs and first-time business owners struggle with that. To start, they really just want to get out there and take on as much work as they can. And then I think over time, they start to realize which clients are the right fit for them, what type of
Oh,
work
yeah.
is the right fit for them. But we don't know until we're in the trenches.
You have to try a bunch of different things. And when I was in the beginning of my career, I was trying a bunch of different voiceover types and genres and everything anyone could throw at me. I was game, sure. But as you progress through your career, the market starts to tell you where you fit. And whether it's voiceover or any other field, the market will tell you where you fit. And when you get that hint, you really need to lean into it because that's how you can make a viable business grow.
Absolutely. I was curious just about your off time when you're not voice acting, but you're
Mhm.
probably thinking about work.
I'm always thinking about work.
Maybe you're fixing yourself a cup of coffee. Are you speaking to yourself sometimes and you're practicing the tagline? You're like, I need to be a little more breathy with this one. And you're like giving your saying taglines while you're working.
Probably not. Honestly, in fact, it's probably better for me to go into the booth almost sight unseen because what they want these days in audio of any kind, in voice audio of any kind, is real and authentic and genuine. And if I've rehearsed something to death, then it's not genuine or authentic anymore. I'm just repeating the words. They start to mean less. What I'm trying to do when I get into the booth is to look at that text, to get the hints from the text. How formal or informal is this company? Are they wanting really off the cuff or is it a little bit businesslike? Do they use contractions? Do they not use contractions? That's a big one. It gives me hints as to where in my vocal range the thing would fit. And honestly, it's less about the voice and more about the intention. So, who am I talking to is really the most important part. Who am I talking to? Where am I? Because if I'm in a loud coffee shop or an auditorium somewhere, it's definitely going to sound different than if I'm across the table from my mom.
Right.
That's a different conversation. Or at home talking to a 7-year-old child. That's a little different. The intention is in the script. I need to read that script. I need to understand the intention, and then I need to answer the question that was asked of me because it's always a dialogue. I'm answering someone's question, whether it's in the script or not. This is an answer to a question.
And I like how you think about the audience and where that audience is at the moment. You're right. It's the environment. Where are they at? Where are they hearing this? That way you can make sure you either stand out or you blend
Yeah.
in
And
the right
sometimes there
ways.
isn't anything. Sometimes you're just the announcer and they just want you to announce. And other people are doing the intention stuff, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But then am the straight man. Like if I'm the person who's had that little bit of a wink because I understood the joke, but I don't want to go too far on that. Or am I someone who didn't get the joke at all? Or am I am trying to relax people? They just went through something really traumatic and I'm trying to calm them down. Then you need that intention. It's a different intention, but it's still intention.
Absolutely. Jodi, for all of our audience out there, where can people find you and connect with you online?
Well, I am at voiceoversandvocals.com. And if people are interested in the power of sound and how it influences us, That's all that I talk about on my podcast, Audio Branding, and that's at audiobrandingpodcast.com. We are about to release our 300th episode.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a lot of work involved. And
Yeah.
our audience will have the links available down in the show notes and the description so everyone can get connected with Jodi here. Wanted to ask you more about, have you had like really inspiring leaders or mentors along your journey that you just want to give them a shout out and what they did for you as a business owner, entrepreneur?
I have spoken to a lot of people over the years. Honestly, I wouldn't single out anyone in particular because it's the whole voiceover community that is just amazing. They're just amazing people. And everyone that I've spoken to would give me advice and talk me down from the ledge and all sorts of helpful stuff. And the communities on Facebook are fantastic. And a lot of my very best friends are fellow voice actors, and I love them all. But I would call out my parents because they were entrepreneurs themselves when I was growing up. And this is the 80s when that was not a thing, really. It was less of a thing than it is now. And watching their example is really what helped me to be okay with not having the safety net.
Absolutely. That community, that outreach, the togetherness is so important. Like you said, talking yourself off a ledge, just being there for your wins, for your losses, for getting some feedback. Oftentimes we feel like we're going things alone, but the more we connect with people, I think we find there's a lot of like-minded people out there as well.
Very much. The podcast community is fantastic too. Just putting that out there.
Podcast is great too. Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone's been wonderful. You get to share ideas and learn a lot of things. You provide the platform for people to speak on, which is fantastic. And just kind of the future, what are you hearing when you're talking with communities and the effects of AI specifically in the voice acting community? Because there are some AI generated voices out there. Not that they haven't always existed, but it's becoming more prominent.
They're really good now.
They're getting better. And it's not just the voiceovers, because this is also into website coding. This is into graphic design.
Oh, it's into songwriting. It's everything.
But it's so crazy. You can write a little commercial jingle and just have fun with it. How is AI affecting the voiceover community? Is it helping? Is it hurting? What changes are you seeing?
Well, for me, I use it for productivity. I don't use it for my actual job. But I understand why people would, because it's something that levels the playing field for people who wouldn't otherwise be able to be on that field at all. I mean, that's fine. But what I'm seeing now is misuse of it a lot. If you spend any time on YouTube, I'm sure half of the ads that you're seeing now are fake celebrities shilling for fake stuff with their voice taken out of context. And you can tell because they're doing the same things over and over again and their eyes aren't moving. And there's something there, but it's their voice coming out, shilling for this product that was a fake. This happens all the time. And the more people are subjected to that, the less that AI impacts what we buy. Because anyone with half a brain knows not to order that shit. Pardon my French. But yeah, what ends up happening is even more strangely now than it used to, hearing an AI voice makes it sound cheap, whatever it is you're putting out there. Yeah. There are some really good options out there, and there are some fun uses for it too. I don't know if you've seen the Baby and the Dog podcast. Have you seen the podcast where the baby is asking the dog, like, hey, you're this fellow creature that lives in my house with me. What's the deal with you? And it's a baby asking a dog. I think it's just hilarious. It's really funny. And it's really creative. It's a creative use of the AI engine. I think they did a really good job with that. So there are such creative ways that this can be used. But as a replacement for us, no, because it's not connecting. When you see that podcast, you know that's not a real person. Someone very clever wrote this script, and that script is where the focus really should be because that's the creativity. And I understand that, but I can get the humor from watching the AI work its thing.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's a
especially in advertising and marketing, where authenticity and being genuine is so important. Why would you use a fake voice to sell your product? It makes you seem cheap. It makes you seem like you don't care about your product because you're not connecting with a human. There's no human there. There's
Mhm.
no connection there. And we may think those AI voices have gotten really good, but they don't connect. We know something is wrong. Even subconsciously, we know something is not there. And if you let people know, maybe you can get away with it. And for creative ventures where a voice talent wouldn't even be possible, totally, I get it. But when it comes to actually promoting your brand and leaning into who you are not AI. And we should be leaning into our humanity, not the computer.
Right. And I love your
Yeah.
perspective on just AI's changes into the landscape, people's perception of it,
Mm.
and the ways you can use it to be more fun and creative and to increase your output. But for the final end result, the finished product, it's not quite there yet.
Its places.
Yeah, there's points where human input is needed and required.
Yes.
And it's really up to you. Like you said, leveling the playing field. I think this opened up a lot of smaller businesses to have some lower cost voice acting work available to
Sure.
them to make some
Yep.
commercials. But we just see how mega corporations like to use this and remove their workforce and try to replace it. Brands were already struggling to connect with consumers and they still
Yeah.
struggle. This is not going to help them.
No, it really isn't. And when it comes to my work and my job, I'm not worried about it taking my job because the people who are using it for stuff right now are using it because it's the cheaper alternative. That's
Yeah.
not a job I ever had. I'm not worried about that. The people who care about their end product, who really want to make a connection with the people who hear them, the people who care about audio branding, those are the people who are going to hire me and people like me. I'm worried about AI taking my job. I don't work in the places where I think it's going to be a really big problem. It could. I mean, 5, 10 years from now, we could be having a very different conversation. But I would hope not. I want AI to do my books, not write my book.
Yes.
I
I
think
agree.
creativity is a human thing that we should lean into and not be lazy and toss it off to a computer.
Right, absolutely. There was a funny meme being shared around the internet that said like, "Oh, we thought the AI robots and automation were gonna like do all the menial tasks, so that way we could do more art, read more books, and write poetry." And they're like, "AI is doing all the fun, creative stuff, and we're still having to wash our own clothes and do all this X, Y, Z."
I think it's starting to switch, though. I think little by little, we're starting to realize just how fake it sounds, even however good we can make it sound.
Mhm.
That just isn't connecting the way that we would hope it would. Does a musical piece that you hear an AI do, does it make you cry? Think about it. I would say no, because there's no human intention. There's nothing behind it. It's just a sequence of notes being played. There's no feeling there. There's no lived experience. For me, I cry when I hear an AI doing a piano piece. No, I don't think I will, because it's just not going to hit me. But
I have
a
some music
human
I'll
being
send over
doing
to you.
that, well, maybe if I didn't know, but when I hear AI do music, it sounds lifeless to me. It
Yeah.
sounds like a computer doing what it thinks a human would do.
And it's not all there. It's not completely human. It does lack a lot of the important pieces behind it. But something cool I was able to do with it is I played in a band in high school, right? We wrote some songs. Our recordings never sounded good. We never had the opportunity to record professionally with the real good
Hmm.
equipment. We recorded in a basement with crappy microphones. I uploaded it to AI, and through some tweaking and prompts, it was able to recreate our songs almost verbatim from high school, but enhance them quite a bit. And that moved me a little bit, but there was more
That's
into
a
it. It's not
great
like
way to use it.
that's a good use of it. And it wasn't just AI making something up. It was, okay, it's our melodies, our lyrics, our instruments, but it's enhanced.
Yeah.
That was a cool piece. And like you said, it shouldn't take over the entire creative process. There's places you can pick and choose where AI can be helpful to you, but overall, it definitely lacks connection, lacks emotion. It's just not all
Yeah,
there.
yeah. But there are reasons to use it, and definitely enhancing previously not so great audio recordings is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic use for it. But research in some aspects that would normally take you 3 hours to do will take it 2 minutes, less, 20 seconds. That cuts down a lot of your day. There's all sorts of really interesting uses for it. I just don't think creativity is the one we should be leaning into.
Yeah, absolutely. Jodi, I totally agree with everything. And I appreciate you sharing your tips, tricks, and wisdom with us. Make sure you check out the links available down in the show notes and the description so you can get connected with Jodi here. Jodi, thank you again for coming out. We appreciate all of your insights here.
Thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thank you.